Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about what is going on out in New Mexico, what has happened, what is happening. And we're going to delve a little bit deeper than the headlines and see if there's anything that we should be paying attention to that maybe we're not. And if there's anything that we can take away from it, if there's any real lessons learned, and in particular, if there's anything that will answer a question that shows up a lot here in the comments. If you don't know what occurred, a losing candidate for the Republican Party out there for a state legislature position, they have been implicated in a series of attacks. And by attacks, I mean drive-by shootings. And the attacks were conducted at the homes of prominent members of the Democratic Party. Now, law enforcement is now saying that they have ballistics evidence that links a shell casing from the scene to a shell casing from the weapon linked to the candidate, whose name is Solomon Pina or Pina. Reporting varies on the pronunciation. I don't know which is correct. In the realm of ballistics evidence, I mean, that's about as close to a smoking gun as you can get. That is pretty hard evidence. If the reports law enforcement is suggesting actually exist, the former candidate is already in an area where his attorney's probably advising him to find a plea deal. The information suggests that he paid people to engage in the attacks and then in at least one instance participated himself. In one of them, rounds wound up in the bedroom of a child. Now, one of the things that keeps getting brought up is his motivations. It certainly appears that this is a person who believed all of the baseless claims. They believed the lies about the election, and he believed that it applied to him as well. The media seems to be focusing on the outcome of that election a lot. And yeah, I mean, it's notable. They're framing it as he lost in a landslide. And I mean, yeah, it's like 50 points or something. I want to say he had 26% and the opposing candidate had 74%. I mean, yeah, that qualifies as a landslide. That seems to be used in an attempt to exonerate the electorate. And sure, a landslide against him, that's one way to say it. Another way to say it is that 1 in 4 people who voted in this election voted to put this person in charge of the levers of state violence in that area. That seems like a really bad move. It is definitely an indictment of the people who voted there, who voted that way. The Republican Party has a lot of soul searching to do, and they need to understand that maybe you shouldn't just vote for somebody just because they have an R after their name. This, what occurred, is evident in a lot of rhetoric, in a lot of talking points. It is what the Republican Party is becoming. And the average voter, y'all need to begin to understand this. This is not the Republican Party that your dad or granddad voted for. It has changed a lot, and it's not for the better. Another thing that I want to point out is that this type of activity, this type of political violence, is becoming more common. It is happening with greater frequency. If the United States, and again, in particular the Republican Party, does not change course, we're headed to our own troubles. We really are. I want to read some tweets. I dissent. I am the MAGA king. This is the candidate. Trump just announced for 2024. I stand with him. I never conceded my HD 14 race. Now researching my options. Guessing he didn't like his options. A common question that is coming from mainly centrists and independents is, why do we have to keep talking about Trump? This is why. This is why. The echo chambers that brought about what occurred on the 6th, they still exist. They still exist. Ignoring his statements that later end up as Republican policy, ignoring his claims when they go out, ignoring their direction he is taking that highly energized base, is a mistake. It has to be covered and it has to be countered. We can't stop paying attention. There will be more news about this. My guess is that over time, more and more links will emerge, and the echo chambers that helped facilitate this will end up being revealed. The U.S. was in a position where it was very obvious that it was on a ledge. And I think a lot of people saw it as, those who support democracy with their back to the cliff, and the far-right faction of the Republican Party, has them by the lapel pins, and they're trying to push them over the cliff. And they feel like that's ended. All that has occurred is the two figures switched positions. And it's worth remembering that all that far-right side of the Republican Party has to do is grab on and fall back. It's not over. We haven't walked away from the cliff's edge here. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.